Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. But now that the weather is much better and I can play in the dirt in my garden, so
Finally,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Boy, what's weather we had. And they're
yeah,
saying that we are going to get again lots of rain, and it will be like a month's worth of rain in one day, in just 1 or 2 days. Just
yep. I have a call coming in, so I'm going to mute myself and take it really quickly while we're waiting
okay,
for other
sure.
people to come in.
Okay, all right.
All right. There we go.
Good morning, Elise.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Hanging in.
Finally nice days, huh? Like
Oh, yeah.
summerish, kind of.
Yesterday too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Put away all the winter stuff.
Yes.
So,
It's just Pamela and me and you.
yeah, so far.
Yes.
Oops.
Hello, I'm back. Hi, Elise. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I was a colleague telling me that my out of office reply on Outlook is still showing, even though I have cleared it from my end. I'm having computer issues today, so we will see how well it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in this day and age, everyone expects everyone to be so computer savvy.
Yeah.
And I just got into Audible, the audio books, and then I decided I don't want to keep it because I get it from Libby Library as well. And then it took me such a long time, and this girl who was helping me, I felt like an idiot not knowing anything. Push this button here, that. It's just awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. I understand that completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you have to get an account in order to sign in for anything.
I know. Half the time I forget my passwords. Good morning, Jim, and good morning. Let me
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Samantha.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So we just need one more person to appear for us to have a quorum.
Myra.
Yeah.
She has trouble getting in. I don't know why.
Yeah. And Cody will not be joining us this meeting. So either Myra or Ian.
I got to tell you, the floating bus stop thing. Okay. Oh,
I didn't quite understand what floating bus
made my blood boil.
So it's basically in the middle where an island would be as opposed to on either side of the road, but we don't have them in Amherst. And that
Thank God.
information was coming as a heads up to Myra. But Guilford did communicate with her that there are none in the town.
And we'll, yeah.
Yeah, and no plans for any. I
Oh,
am
okay.
going to see if I can check my email to see if there's any messages from Myra.
Oh, good idea.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's a relief that they're not gonna be here.
No, I don't see a message from her. I have not heard from Ian. I will try to email them both. Oh, there's Chief Ting. I didn't know whether he was going to be here or not. And
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm just gonna go draw a window shade because the light is from the window is bouncing off my.
all right. We're just waiting for one additional commission member to show up so that we'll have a quorum. And I just sent them both a quick email. So.
Better. Oof. When you have big windows, you have to be careful where you put your device. And the sun's not even coming in yet.
All right.
Yeah.
So one thing, we don't officially have a quorum. We need one more member to have a quorum, but we could get started with Sam, because Sam is going to basically show us the website, and we don't need a quorum in order to do that. And I don't think we're taking any votes on anything. So I'm going to, and I'm going to just check one other thing, make sure there, yeah. So I'll get us started, and at least we might be able to get through that agenda item. So the Commission for Persons with Disabilities will meet virtually on May 13th. This is an amended agenda item. Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025 extended through June 30th of 2027 provides the ability for public bodies to meet in a fully remote or hybrid manner. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or by telephone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. So Jim, as the co-chair, if you'd like to do the roll call, then just make the announcements that we don't have a quorum, but we will basically proceed with hearings from some of the town employees who are here, and of course will not have the ability to vote on any agenda item.
Okay. So Elise, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
And Seren, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Pamela?
I am here.
All right, and I'm here. I think that's it, right? So
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's it for committee members. So the agenda for today, the first thing under old business is the accessibility of the web. So Sam, I will make sure that you have the ability to share screen.
I do, yeah.
Okay, all right, great. So then if you want to go right ahead.
Perfect.
And can you, if you're gonna use a mouse, can you use it very slowly? because
Yeah,
I'm vision impaired and I can't always focus quick.
yeah, sure. I think
Thank
it
you.
will mostly be you all being able to look at things. Let me know if this sizing's good or if I should zoom in.
Okay.
I can zoom in a bit here. So I think the main thing that we were talking about today was you all's webpage for the commission. Since this is new,
Oh,
that we launched along with the announcement of becoming the commission. Um, yeah, definitely feel free to interrupt if you have questions or need me to zoom in or anything. But the way it
okay.
stands right now is we have the mission right at the top.
Okay.
And so we
Oh,
even have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble enlarging it.
Yeah,
I
let me,
enlarge it for a couple of seconds and it pops back to regular. So, uh,
is this better for you at all
ah,
or?
um, getting there. I need it bigger.
Yeah, let me,
I can't, yeah, it keeps wanting to, it doesn't wanna, oh, damn. All right, well, I'll just listen.
yeah, and I mean, the website's published, so you guys are welcome to do it. I can
Yeah.
also share the link in the chat at the end, so you can take some time to look at it and send me any notes. But I'll try to be verbal with it as
Great.
well. So the way that the web page currently stands is right at the top. It has the mission. So the mission, I took wording from the charge that the town manager sent to you all, the charge for the commission. I also have in the top right there that this was established in 2025 and was formerly known as the Disability Access Advisory Committee, and have a link to the previous committee page so folks can reference that if they are looking for any information from the past.
Cool.
We list out the responsibilities of the commission, including advising and assisting municipal officials and employees, carrying out programs, providing information, referrals, and guidance, researching local problems, reviewing and making recommendations about policies and procedures, encouraging public awareness, making recommendations about the funds received, and reviewing, any other kind of policy things. And so again, all this information is taken from the charge, and I even linked the full committee charge. So folks, including new members, people who are interested in becoming members, current members, can always go and view that for the full information. I'm going to scroll back up for one more second just to show you what's on the right here. So it has Pamela as the contact, the address in case anyone ever wanted to mail anything, and then also the agenda minutes, any board packets and meeting recordings. Again, so anyone from the public can access this information as well as current members or interested members. I'm just going to scroll down now. Next, we have meetings. So just talking about how the meetings are generally scheduled 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the second Tuesday of each month. And then a link to the town calendar. So folks can go there to see the agenda for the most upcoming or the date and time of the next upcoming meeting. Next is a section about members. So just talking about the composition of membership, including 7 appointed by the town manager to 3-year terms, talking about who should be members. And then we actually have listed out all of the current members and when they started their term. Technically all started in 2025 when it became the commission, and when the end of term is all in June for different years. And then this will be updated as membership changes. We also put in a how to become a member of the commission because we know that's always an interest and residents who want to be more involved. And so just information about how to do that. Next, we have accessibility information. So this is just broadly about the town of Amherst being committed to serving all residents. And I took this language and altered it a little bit from another town's DEI or another town's commission website. And basically, just our commitment to improving town services and website content to make sure it's accessible. If they have any questions or concerns, to call or email Pamela. And also work to accommodate any in-person service requests or offer alternate formats. So just important to have that out there, especially on you all's webpage. And then this is a section where I would need support from you all. So I think this was actually recommendation from your chair to include this local resources section. And so it has, if you need accessible housing, a question mark still of who we should be contacting. If you cannot vote independently on paper, is contacting the town clerk. Information about accessible transportation for people with disabilities, including the PVTA paratransit or senior center silver shuttle, which I'm not sure that they offer that right now. And accessible parking, we're not sure who the contact should be for that. Talking about, oh,
If I could raise a question here,
yeah,
and you may not have the answer. I'm not sure what that question is asking. Whether is it about HP placards, that is, you're disabled and you want to get a placard so that you can park in handicap parking spaces, or is it, where are accessible parking spaces in town? Those are two different issues, really.
that's a good point. So yeah, this is really just information that Myra had sent of
Okay.
info that we should have, and I don't think not all of it was filled in. And it might also not be inclusive of every single resource that you all want listed. So definitely encourage you to, yeah, take more time to review this. But yeah, so there's info about accessible housing, voting, transportation, parking, information about snow blocking like curb cuts or sidewalks. 'Cause I know that's always an issue in the winter time, and who to call or submit a form online. Information about like if you're deaf, completing certain forms to make sure emergency services know. Um, Additional resources about if you have low vision or are blind, the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind and their contact info. Um, Other things about emergency contacts. Things about mental health crisis, or just a general recommendation. Again, these are all just ideas from Myra. So if there's any additional contacts that you know of that you think should be listed, again, thinking about the disability community in Amherst, what questions that you're hearing come up or what concerns you're hearing come up, and this really serving as that hub of like resources that you can direct folks to. And hopefully it will have the answer to their questions, and we can obviously build on this as well. But I think this is the main area that it would be great for you all as commission members to review and make sure it has all the contact info that you want and any other needs addressed. I think the last section that we have here is just useful links. So this is the town's ADA policy, the 504 self-evaluation and transition plan. We link to the Massachusetts Office on Disability, the town snow and ice removal bylaw, snow removal and accessibility in Massachusetts, section 504, and just some other policies or legislation that might be relevant to folks interested in your work as a commission. But this is, yeah, overall, the webpage as it exists. I'm happy to scroll back to any section or hear thoughts, reviews, edits.
Elise Link here. I have a thought, and it's more personal. As a person with low vision and other people with vision issues looking at this, it looks like a great website. I'm thinking about like the links that you're providing. It's in a color that's a little hard to read, and if it could be like a different color, more color contrast, or a slightly bigger font, it would stand out more.
Yeah.
That's just a thought. I mean, it's not, yeah, otherwise it's great. I'm just thinking, um, I don't know. It just kind of blends in a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's helpful to know.
Yeah. It's, that brown color is, it could
Mhm.
be something stronger, a stronger color and a slightly bigger font. It would stand out more. And people could glance, people could find it more easily.
Yeah.
So that's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other thoughts?
Well, I'm wondering for the committee, whether it makes sense to set aside some time at the next meeting to talk about those questions and whether those are the ones we want or whether the wording is okay, as well as the links. And some of them are going to the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Fair Housing Act, the AAB regulations. I mean, this is extremely technical and lengthy stuff. And I wondered
It
if
is.
if our community might be better served if we included instead, guides to the ADA and guides idea and stuff like that. I mean, again, this is our responsibility, not Sam's, but I'm just wondering whether we should think about talking about this at the next meeting.
So,
Yeah.
Jim, oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna just say that
Sure.
we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting. I think that's a good idea. We probably need to encourage the members to review it because it's been on the agenda for several months and
At least.
and members have had the responsibility. Remember, we started with a much longer list of resources and folks took time to sort of review. This is the compacted, condensed list of resources that we, that the members felt was important. So we can certainly add this to the agenda and I can send out a note as homework for members to review it. But I think we have to sort of come to some conclusion because we've been working on it for at least, I would say, 4 months, maybe more.
Yeah, I can also send this if this makes it easier for folks as a Word document. So that way anyone can make any edits that they want directly to it and either share with other committee members or share at that next meeting. Since you can't obviously like make edits to the website, but a Word document you'd maybe be able to. Do you think that would be helpful? Pamela?
Sir,
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful.
Okay.
Right. And we could do both. I mean, in my email out to the commission members, I can send the live link and the Word document and so folks will have an opportunity to see it and make edits and they could provide feedback. So
Yeah, especially if you discuss at an upcoming meeting, it might be helpful to make like live edits to the Word document that you all are seeing and approving and then can be sent to me to make the edits to the actual live website.
all right.
Any other thoughts about the content of the webpage? Anything missing that you think is important for your constituents to see, potential new members, current members?
So my actually suggestion would be that we we omit the local resources from the web page until
For
it's
now.
complete. Yeah, because it's incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's more confusing than actually having a complete document. But I'm only one voice, so I don't know, Sarah, Elise, Jim,
Yeah.
how you guys feel about that.
For example, I'm looking at if you need accessible parking, contact question mark, so it feels like it's work in progress sort of a thing. So maybe it might be a good idea, Pam.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'll put it all in a Word document so we don't lose what Myra had put together and then remove it from the live site for now.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just have to commit to wrapping this up in June.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you,
Cool.
Sam, very much.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. It looks great.
It
Thank
does.
you.
Thank you.
I'll email that to you now too, Pamela, so you have it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So on the agenda under old business, we have the Disability Pride Month film screening, but I think we should probably postpone that until we actually have a quorum because there's some actions that you all need to take in order to vote on that issue. And then next under old business is accessible trails. Well, the accessible trails bill, which we'll have to skip because that requires a vote, but the accessible trails at Hickory Ridge, parking at 7-3 Main Street, and HP parking at Town Hall. So Rob, are you able to talk about the Hickory Ridge site in the handicap parking at Town Hall?
Sure. I didn't know if
All
there
right.
were specific questions, but I can just start with kind of an overview of each of those locations and what we have out there. Starting with Hickory Ridge, you may be aware that there's been extensive trail construction happening over the last 12 months or so, and we do have about 2 miles worth of trail there that was designed and built to full accessible requirements, meaning slope, running slope, and cross slope, and widths and areas for resting and turning and accessing seating areas. Those were built completed last fall with the work, and this spring we're looking to get in there to do some maintenance. They are gravel trails, so they will need regular ongoing maintenance because the property as a whole is susceptible to flooding, which just makes it a challenge. But there's an extensive trail system there that will be opened formally to the public with a event later this year. We're also working on improved access to the trails. So we do have a parking area that was existing, cleaned up a little bit, and accessible spaces provided with some signage off of West Pomeroy Road. That's the main entrance and access to the trail system. And then in time, we're continuing to work on a couple of options that will provide access directly from West Street over the town's sewer. There's a driveway that leads to a sewer building, a sewer pump station that will gain access to the new trail system. And then, we do need to continue to work on a couple of bridges to improve accessibility. But those are ongoing efforts. Those are not complete and available today. And we're continuing to work on that. Do you want to, Pamela, have questions on Hickory, or should I continue to Town Hall?
I noticed the old country club building has been torn down. Are there plans to put like a pavilion there or anything like that? Or is it just going to be grass, or how's that going to work out?
Right now, the plan was to remove the building and slope it and grass that area. There is a pavilion site within the trail system, but the pavilion itself hasn't been funded yet, but the concrete pad has been constructed.
Okay, thank you.
Elise has her hand up too. Elise.
Yeah, this is a dumb question and an old one, but is this the trail that, I mean, I'm glad that this is being put together, but does one still have to be able to drive to it?
Yes, that's
Okay.
that's the issue with access right now, is that
Yeah.
somebody has to drive to that parking lot and utilize the spaces that have been created to gain access to the trail.
Okay,
There is
that's unfortunate.
there is a future plan to make connectivity directly from West Street, so one could by public transportation get to the village center, and approximately a quarter mile along public sidewalk reach an access point, but that is not complete yet. We're hoping to work on that throughout the year and get that constructed properly. And it does include a crossing, a wooden bridge that is not at this point compliant, that's existing from when the country club operated.
All right, well, I'm glad that that's being taken into account, because that will make it really accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is something that we talked about
I know.
a few meetings in calendar year 2024. So I think as we get to a point where there's a finish date for the accessible system, that we then have to go back and revisit with the senior center the possibility of van transportation and stuff on given days, so that people have real access to this trail.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my only issue.
It's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So Rob, I think you can go ahead to talk about the parking at the town hall.
Okay, so parking at the town hall, this has been discussed for a while now. We have a accessible parking space at the rear of town hall in the parking lot that doesn't provide an accessible route to the entrance on Main Street of the building. So one has to travel over the public sidewalk, which in that particular area has steep slopes and tight clearances and so on. So it's not an ideal and not a fully compliant path. So what we have done, which is what we would normally do with any potential capital project, is make it known through the capital budgeting process. Typically, the committee likes to see projects in the works for some number of years and move their way towards funding in the current year. So we have identified it out in a future year, probably 28, 29 capital requests. And, and I see the reaction a little bit. But, that I do want to explain how much time some of these projects take. So what that does is it gives us the ability to, and we don't have a funding source for this yet, but look for funding to design a project that we potentially could be prepared to bid in those out years. So we know, it's going to take some creative design work to make this connection work between the parking spaces and the main entrance. We don't even know at this point if there's, going to be approval to move forward with a project like that. But what we would do is with excess funding in any any capital account or operating account that the facilities department might have as it wraps up the year, closes out some of the accounts, we'll see if we can design and start doing some investigating into how to improve access and prepare a project for future consideration. So that's really where we are with this particular matter.
Sarah?
Sarah, yeah.
Yes. Some quick solution I have in my mind is there are 2 handicap accessible places at the back parking. And one of them does not even have any sign. And we accidentally found it. And the sign is only on the ground. There is no post, nothing that announces the availability of that site. I know it's not van accessible or anything accessible, but there is a drawing on the ground that is accessible parking. So what is the plans? That shouldn't really need 5-year plan or anything. That should be a quick fix, in my opinion.
Sounds like you're right. I'll take a look at that and notify the Public Works Department if there's a sign on the ground that needs to be, reinstalled in its proper location. That seems like something that could be done relatively quickly.
That's right.
I'll follow up on that.
Even a post, yeah.
Yeah, a post is important, so people will know that there is a place there. And leave alone, but there's no double lines. I don't remember seeing any double lines on either side. So
okay,
maybe it should be it could be combined with the one next to that, and maybe it could be changed to accessible 2 places. I don't know. But another thing I noticed, which also might not take big period of planning, is the accessible sites they put in front of the town hall on the Boltwood Walk. Because if I were to park there and I have a van, the lift will come down to the one-way street, which I think is kind of dangerous. So
I believe there's a space on each side of the one-way travel lane. So one would be the van accessible space and one would be the standard accessible space. I believe that's the way the engineering department designed it.
Yeah, and then say I safely land there, and then it's going to the accessible entrance. entrance, I have to go down a steep hill.
Yeah.
And it's impossible for a person alone using a wheelchair to do it. So it's really very important, especially for our town hall.
Right. So yeah, so we're aware of that, the steepness of that grade along the beginning of Main Street. And I think that's maybe the driving, reason to improve the accessible route from the back parking area to that Main Street entrance, because it's
Right.
very unlikely that we would ever do anything that would soften that steep grade that exists there naturally. There is the potential to create a ramp system there, and I've started to look at that with the engineering department. All that work is in the public way, and so we would need to come up with some solution with a town engineer and public works department. But I think we're not really considering that as an option as much as improving the connection between the rear parking spaces of Town Hall lot and the Main Street door. We think that's probably a better solution than trying to adjust that slope in any way, because I don't think it'll be a big change.
And
I would point out, go ahead, Savannah, I'm sorry.
I mean, another thing, when I was at the clerk's office to sign some paperwork, and I asked, I said, do people that are employed at the town hall, do you have access to parking in the back of the building? She said, yes, we do. So maybe if they don't have any mobility issues, maybe there should be not allowed to park behind. Maybe additional couple of more accessible places could be placed behind.
Okay.
At least that will be a quick solution until the bigger, more deeper investments are made. So those were my quick fixes.
Okay, I can take note of those recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would also point out generally that the town hall needs to be accessible from all directions. I mean, it's not really a viable solution as far as access is concerned to have a couple of places in the back and then some way for those people who park there to get into the building. That's great. But if there's a meeting and say 3 people in chairs want to go, and the third one has to go down that steep slope from Boltwood in order to gain the accessible entrance, that doesn't work. I mean, I realize it's really unfortunate and difficult, but a partial solution is no guarantee of access.
I have to agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of shameful that this was a problem to begin with.
Okay.
So, Rob, before we have another issue that involves you, but before we get to that, I just want to ask Chief Ting, are you able to stay on for a few more minutes, or do you need to?
And I'm not in any rush, so you can jump around and come back to me. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm able to stick around.
Okay. So so we have one other issue for you, Rob, which is just information about the new MOD grant application. I don't know if there's been any thoughts about what the process or what project you're looking at for that.
There hasn't been a decision about that. So we are in the grant cycle now for application period. It opened beginning of the month, and the application will be due about a month from now. I think it's the second week of June. My only recommendation, just from the various projects that I'm working on, is that if there wasn't another viable application that came forward, that we seek funding to support the Bang Center renovation that includes full accessibility compliance, so removal of any barrier that's been identified through our survey and transition plan documents, and it's an extensive list. The majority of the items in the building are being dealt with through the project that's been funded. And then there's another pretty significant list that is not in the project that'll be handled by the facilities department through their regular either capital spending or own projects, in-house projects. So an example of that is, a power opener on a door. And there's, I don't know, a dozen or more throughout the building, maybe even twice as many. And those are things that we could seek funding through the MOD process to handle. So, the planning staff is considering options from what I last heard and presenting ideas to the assistant town manager. And if he makes a decision to apply for a particular project, we would do that. I think the backup is to try to supplement the Bangs project if we don't have anything. Otherwise we wouldn't be submitting at all.
Is it possible for the commission, to get a list of the suggested improvements for the Bang Center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have that. It's not a attractive document. It's a list in an Excel format. And it corresponds to the full survey that was done in 2020, and I can share both of those documents. But you gotta reference between them to really get the full scope of the work.
Sure. I think, and I'm speaking as both the staff liaison and the commission member, but I think the commission would be interested in seeing what the list of improvements were suggested for Bangs. And one thing that the commission has repeatedly sort of pushed for is funding that design part of the project for town hall. So, we don't have a quorum, so we couldn't take a vote on it today, but having that information and having it available for them to review would be helpful. Yeah. And
Okay.
please, Saren, Elise, and Jim weigh in. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a list.
Well,
Sure. Okay.
it sounds like from what Rob said, that the application is due in about a month. I don't know whether that gives us a chance to weigh in on anything. I mean, we
Yeah.
can't weigh in on anything today, and unless we call a special meeting. I don't know if I'm making sense, Pamela, but I have, and Rob, I don't know what the date is for the submission.
Yeah. So I think you're correct. We'd have to call a special meeting,
Yeah.
but it could be a meeting that's limited just to this one issue, or to the other issue where their time is sort of, in essence, is the planning for the Disability Pride Month. So there might be two issues that would be, that might really call for a special meeting. And that would just be a meeting of the members, like there are no outside parties, but in order for you to at least express your opinion as a commission on the project.
And sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to add that, one of the challenges that I see with potential projects and that grant application process is that we do need some level of conceptual design done. We don't necessarily need construction drawings to make the application. And, with staff capacity and, availability, there hasn't been a project that has come forward in the last couple of weeks of discussion. So I'm not sure where that's going to end. And just that's why I recommended what we have already designed as the opportunity to try to, go after that opportunity. Right.
Well, and again, I can't speak for the full commission, but I'll speak for myself as the staff liaison and a member of the commission. I think it's worthwhile for the commission to at least express their opinion about what's selected, even if that's not what goes forward. And the request for design work on accessibility for town hall has been something that this body has repeated for like the last 2.5 years.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I'm with Pamela on that one.
I'm with her on that too, and I hope
Yeah.
I'm here.
Me too.
I hope I get to see this list, because I'm, after June, I'm no longer.
But anyway, I would say we appreciate the going forward with the bangs if nothing else, but you know,
Yes.
I think it's important for the commission to have the information.
Okay.
All right. So I think those are all the questions that we have for you. Everything else on the agenda requires a vote. So
I have one quick update, but I can wait if you'd like to.
nope,
But
go ahead.
if you don't mind, since I'm here, you know, kind of along with the discussion of, you know, how long things take to happen. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, the then DAAC wrote a letter to me, asking for, me to intervene with some issues that were at the Mill River Recreation Area. So I just wanted to report that, you know, after all this time, we are finally doing something. And it, I think, was an opportunity where we collaborated with the Public Works Department and pooled some unused small amounts of money, but they added up to enough to get some work done. And going on right now is a pretty good improvement to the walkway, sidewalk, and parking areas. And included in that will be, if anyone remembers the situation, the drop off around the pavilion, which was of particular concern.
Yes.
So there's a contractor on site now. It's a project being managed by the Public Works Engineering Department, and will result in a nice improvement. You know, still a whole lot more to do at that property, but a nice improvement, and eliminate that that hazardous situation, both getting access to the pavilion and using the pavilion, hopefully before you know, the end of the month.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Good.
That's great.
Good. That was going to be my question
Yeah.
because
Same.
in my other role as the staff liaison for the Human Rights Commission, we have an event at the pavilion on June 8th. And so if it's going to be under construction, we'd need to know right away that we couldn't use it.
I do know that the sidewalk work will be complete. They are about to pave, so that work will be done. And then another crew is supposed to come in and build up the grade around the pavilion and reset some of the playground equipment. That potentially would not be completed by your date, but parking and access is expected to be done in the next several days. It should wrap up pretty quickly.
And
All right,
then
thank you.
There is
drop-off.
another event that Amherst Neighbors
Yeah.
is doing on the 2nd of June in the
I will
pavilion.
I'll reach out to Guilford and ask about pavilion use for Amherst Neighbors as well as for HRC, and I will email you, Sharon, so you'll know.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
All right, thank
Oh,
you.
it just
Thank you.
One other thing that I remember, I go there for every year for the Amherst Neighbors picnic. People always ask for accessible bathrooms. And is there some signage that could be put that will direct people to accessible bathrooms, which is by the other side of the pool?
Yeah, it's a long travel distance. So you're suggesting signage over near the
Yeah.
pavilion that
It-
points to the direction. Yeah,
That's
and that's going to be the brand new sidewalk that's being built today. So I'll mention that to the engineering
because
department as well.
that's right, because that's one of the questions is, where's the bathroom? Where's the bathroom?
Sure, you can't see it, right?
No.
Okay, I
Nope.
understand.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Chief Ting, you were asked to join us, as was our chief from the fire department, but because commission members had questions about non-emergency response from police and fire departments. And I'm gonna perhaps ask Jim to really face this question and better than I am. So I'm like sort of struggling for words right here.
I mean, uh-oh. Well, these issues have come up again and again, but I'm sort of, I'm grateful that Chief Ting is here, and it's wonderful to have the opportunity to talk face to face via Zoom. But I mean, I would guess I would like Serena and Elise to weigh in on this, because I'm not much further along on this than you are, Pamela.
So Sharon or Elise, are either of you able to form the question? I can struggle to sort of think about how Myra described it, but can either of you weigh in?
Is this the question about if you have a crisis, but it's not a 911? Maybe Saren, because I think.
Yeah, I think it the issue came up with when following a snowstorm. Winter, yeah, and nothing was plowed on our street, and my PCAs were unable to drive under those conditions, and then there was no way that I could make the calls to, and I called Guilford. I personally had his line, his cell phone, and he immediately sent crews. So that's how it all originated, because we didn't know that. I don't feel comfortable calling 911 because it's not an emergency situation that I need an ambulance, need to go, or my house is on fire, that kind of a thing. So that's how it all came up. I think
I think I can answer your question.
Yes.
So just so you know, whether it's a 911 call or it's a non-emergency call, it goes to the same place. So what I would recommend is to call 911 anyways. Something like that, the situation that you described, if you needed an emergency crew, at nighttime, if you were to try and call Guilford, he might not answer it because he's not at the office.
Yeah.
And they have people that are on call, and that would filter anyways through the 911 dispatch center. So if you called us, even for a non-emergency situation, we would be able to direct you to the right person. So in that circumstance, we would call our contact person at the DPW directly to let them know, hey, this street needs a little bit of attention. Can you have your crews go over there? So that way that alleviates the caller for having to search around to call different places and whatnot. So again, my recommendation for emergency or non-emergency calls is to just call 911.
So that's great, actually. And Pamela, maybe this could be something that could be on our website.
I think it should.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's.
Every time I call, I always feel apologetic and say, I really am so sorry for taking your time. This is not really emergency, but what shall I do? That kind of a thing. So.
Well, the way we see it, ma'am, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, and you're absolutely right. I hear what you're saying, but the thing is usually, there's no determinant of what's an emergency. What I mean by that is that could be an emergency for you. You can't get out of your driveway. So that's an emergency. The way I see it is, if you can't get out of your driveway, you can't get out of your house, you can't leave. That to me is an emergency equally. So again, it goes to the same place. So and never feel like you're bothering us. That's what we're here for.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
The other thing, I have two questions, but one of them is, and also does that go for instance, a PCA or somebody helping one of my parents, that, and they can't get up the driveway to get to their house. We call you guys also for that?
Absolutely. Give us a call. And, if we can't get a hold of DPW, we'll try and figure a way out to help you.
Okay.
And if that means one of our officers grabs a shovel, then we'll go and do that. So.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
I have another question, if I may.
Sure.
And that this doesn't, I don't know what this falls under, but I've always been a little concerned about, we don't have tornadoes and major emergencies, that often or anything,
Mhm.
or, you know, like heat waves that knock out air conditioning for people. I mean, there are certain statewide, you know, like area-wide things that could go wrong, and
Mm,
winter or summer. And I'm wondering, like, for instance, that freak snowstorm we had in 2011,
mm,
where is there a plan for people to get to you know, like if they have to leave their homes and get to either a heating station or, you know, a cooling station to stay
mhm.
alive? Is there a plan in place for the town, or if there's an evacuation order, God forbid, or anything like that? Is there any plan in place? And also, not only that, but is there any way to for people who do not drive to get accessibility to these places? I mean, is there a plan that's ever been done? I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, you are making sense, and the answer is yes and no. So when I say yes, you know, absolutely. You know, unfortunately, I recall that horrible ice storm in 2011.
Yeah.
You know, knocked out all communications and whatnot. So there are a lot of lessons learned from that particular incident, and you know, we do often have heat waves in the summertime. So there are continual conversations to try and figure out logistics and to make sure that there's accessibility for everyone. So
Mhm,
that's continuous. So when I say yes, there are plans in place. And when I say no, that means that they're not perfect. So we are
mhm,
always open for suggestions and recommendations to make those plans better.
mhm,
But certainly, you know, in the event of an emergency like that, I would certainly pay attention to our website and our social media sites and certainly the news. We will do our best to publicize any of those plans to try and mitigate those issues through all of those mediums. Again, you know, through our website, social media
mhm.
sites, and we will utilize the news so we can get that information out to our community members.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I'm also
Yeah.
thinking that, again, for people who do not drive, would you know, like, could there be like a bus or something, or a van to get people to these accessible places?
Sure, sure,
In
absolutely, and those
in
are
Yeah.
Yep, and those are contingency plans
Mhm,
that we would negotiate when if that situation arises. We already have you know, the police department has a multi-person van, the fire department has one, certainly the
okay.
school committee. So we have access to all of those vehicles. And
Mhm,
you know, if that's a service that we need to provide, we will do that.
okay.
Right.
That's very helpful to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, I have senior parents who could not live without AC, that would literally kill them. And you know, for them
Oh,
to
I hear
get
you.
to an accessible spot, and my neighbors too, you know, were vulnerable. So
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. So just so you know, we've lived with without air conditioning. Our chiller broke down 3 years ago.
Oh my
We
gosh.
just literally had a brand new one installed this year, this past
Wow.
week. So yeah, so
Yeah.
we
You're
hear
all
you.
prepared.
Yeah. Well, thank you for, you know, thank you for that. I just need, yeah, I've always
Yeah.
been
You're very
concerned about
welcome.
that.
Does anyone else have any questions for Chief Ting?
I do, and I apologize to the members of the committee if I'm going over ground that's already been plowed many times, although I haven't heard much discussion of it in the last, I don't know, however long I've been on the commission, 2.5 years, something like that. But you know, obviously around the country, there was a movement to try and channel, no, I mean, get better response police departments for, you know, with domestic disturbances or somebody screaming in the street or something like that, who might have psychiatric disability or difficult to communicate because they're deaf or, you know, perhaps on the autism spectrum. And I think that was why CRESS was set up in Amherst. And I just wondered how all that is unfolding here and whether you've seen any issues or whether things have gone pretty satisfactorily there.
I guess that's a pretty complex question. I think there's multiple reasons as to why CRESS came about.
Okay.
Certainly, you know, both entities, ourselves, CRES and the Amherst Fire Department, work very closely together. So we are trying to always continuously find better methods and trying to figure out what our best practices are to try and solve these problems. And I hear what you're saying, in terms of response. Unfortunately, sometimes our response may not be satisfactory to one person compared to another. Some people like things differently than others, and we're trying to do the best that we can for everyone. But we are continuously training and continuously trying to find better ways to meet our public's needs. And so certainly we appreciate that feedback. So when we hear those type of messages, we welcome it so we can try and find methods to try and improve ourselves. So CRES is considered a third leg of our public safety. And like you said, some people might not feel comfortable coming to the police department, so they have another alternative avenue to try and seek help. And we work together in concert with each other. So if it's something that they can't accomplish, then you can come to us. If it's something that we can't do, we will certainly refer it to them, and vice versa. So it's an ongoing process, I should say.
Okay, thank you.
So,
You're welcome.
Chief Ting, could you maybe talk about the co-response that you have at the police department? I'm not sure a lot of people are aware of that.
Absolutely. So we have clinicians that are employed by CSO. So what that is, it's a social service. They are clinicians that are licensed. They don't work for us. However, they are housed in our police station, really for convenience sake. So the way that it benefits our community is when there's a call that gets called out and there's some type of mental health component to it, that way the clinician can join the police department and respond to that particular call. Certainly we are needed to try and mitigate the safety aspect. And once that is accomplished, then the clinician can kind of step in and figure out from that point on, they can conduct an evaluation or an assessment of the patient and the person at hand and make a determination of what those needs are. So it's a really, really strong and great collaboration because we have those clinicians in-house. On top of that, the clinicians are able to provide us with additional training so we can learn about how we can respond better to different situations and vice versa. So it's really a strong and nice partnership.
That sounds great. Saran.
This brought a question in my mind. If there is, say, a resident of Amherst who does not speak any English and they are alone in their home and they need to get in touch with the police because there is some fire that started in their house. So is there any way like some translation that they could get and communication to make it easy? I'm sure there is ways to do it, but it just brought it into my mind right now.
There is, interestingly enough, in the past, we had always tried to have a list of translators. We try to tap into our universities and colleges because it's so diverse to have a list of translators on hand. But unfortunately, people come and go. So that's not very reliable. So we have found technology to help us out. For example, there was a grant that was, town-wide where we purchased these items. They're pocket translators, and they will translate into any particular language that you choose. So we utilize that. We also use a language line, and that technology is constantly improving, especially with AI, artificial intelligence, that's now becoming a lot more of a mainstay. So we're utilizing more and more technology to enhance our ability to communicate with others, especially with people who don't speak English. So there are different ways that we are trying. Again, unfortunately, we can't rely on translators direct because if it's an emergency, we can't get one right away. So we use the technology that we have, and that seems to work out pretty good.
That's great. I don't know if there's any need for that, but it's good to think about just in case. That can
Absolutely, you never know.
happen, you know.
You never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. All right.
We have a saying. We have a saying in our police department. If it's predictable, then it's preventable.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions for Chief Ting?
Pretty good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with your position.
It's nice
Thank you
to
very much.
connect a face with,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah. If feel free, any questions at any time. Feel free. I have an open door. So if anybody ever needs anything, I'm here.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
So,
Thank you.
we're not going to officially adjourn because we don't have a quorum and this was not an official meeting, requiring an adjournment, but there are a couple of things that I do want to bring to your attention, and I'll follow up with an email to the entire group. I will be away for the first week in June, so Jim and Myra will have to send their agenda items to Philip, who will support and post the meeting for the second week in June. And then there will not be.
Is that legal that you can take a vacation?
It's not, but I'm doing it anyway.
Oh,
And and it's actually, I don't consider it a vacation. So visiting family to me is not a vacation,
no,
right? Because that's
I get that.
typically, yeah, it's typically a chore. And in this case,
Oh, that's
um,
terrible.
yeah. Well, I have a good job to do. I have a cousin who was living with my grandmother. She's in her 80s, and we are finalizing some more permanent accommodations for her. And so I said that I would go down to help with that process.
Mm,
So, I mean, it will be a working vacation. We'll put it that way. But anyway, so I'll be away, but Philip will post the minutes. There will not be minutes from this meeting because we didn't have a quorum, so we won't have an official meeting. But I do need to make sure that you have and are able to approve the minutes from the April meetings, both the regular meeting and the special meeting that you have, and I will get those to you. So, yeah.
So you won't be at the June meeting either?
I will be at the June meeting, but I won't be here to
post.
to post the meeting. Yeah, I'll be back in town by then, but
Okay.
I won't be here to get the meeting and the agenda posted. Yeah.
so Pamela, we be talking with Myra about a special meeting to consider those issues that were brought up at the MOD proposal.
I think so. So I'll send out an email following this meeting. Sam has already sent me the information to share, so I'll just package that all together with the questions that, and I'll send it out to the entire group. I did check a couple of times. I did not get a response from Myra or see one from Ian. Cody had told me that he would not be available today. But I did expect Myra and Ian to be here. So I'll just follow up with everybody with those three sort of questions and see where you all land. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you all very much.
Well, I did have a question before we end
Oh,
up.
sure.
There was a person at our last meeting from the public who called about, who talked to us about accessible parking in front of Essentials, which is at 373 Main Street. And I didn't know if we had a way to get in touch with her because I have checked that situation out.
So I do not think that the individual sent an email to me so that I have contact information. And I mean, this is actually something that we might consider adding to the website, is the ability for someone to voice, to raise an issue or concern. And then that would come, they could do that through a form on the website. That would come to me, and then we'd have a record of the person and the incident. But we don't currently have a way to do that unless someone decides to email me through the contact. So I will write that down as a possible thing for Sam to add to the website.
Okay. I mean, for folks who are curious, the rules governing slope
Mhm.
for accessible parking spaces are very, very strict. The slope can't exceed 2%, which is about, 0% is flat.
Right.
And 100% is vertical. So 2%, there's not much of a slope. And the problem is at 373, whether it's in front of Bruno's or in front of that Essentials complex, the slope is just too great. There's a possible solution in the driveway there between the Essentials building and the Bruno's building, but that would be something that she would need to pursue with Essentials. Depends who owns the property and things like that. It's just one of those unfortunate things.
So actually, Jim, I'm going to stand corrected. So I'm looking back through my emails and I do have an email. Yeah, I do have an email for her, Sherry. So I can forward you her email directly if you want to respond to her since she didn't
Okay, that'll be
attend the
fine.
meeting. Okay,
That'll
I'll
be
do
fine.
that. Yeah. All right. Well, I think unless anyone else has another issue, we
Nope.
can close and I will follow up with emails to everyone on those 3 points that we talked about.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
everyone.
you, Chief
Thank
Ting.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Rob.
Ting.
Thank,
Thank you
Yep.
for having me.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.